Welcome, friends, to another tranquil journey through the corridors of history. This is History for Sleep, where we weave tales of the past to lull you into a peaceful slumber. Tonight, we begin a 4-part exploration of ancient civilizations, starting with the sun-scorched sands of ancient Egypt, where the pyramids rise like silent sentinels of eternity. Before we embark, if you enjoy these stories, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Means the world to the channel. And in the comments, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always a joy to know who's joining us from across the globe. Now, dim the lights, settle into your favorite spot, maybe turn on a fan for that soft, comforting hum, or wrap yourself in a blanket. Let's step gently into the past together, where the pyramids of Giza await under a starlit sky. Picture yourself standing on the Giza Plateau. The air warm and heavy with the scent of desert dust. The sun hangs low, casting golden light across the sands, and before you rise the great pyramids, their limestone faces glowing with an otherworldly sheen. These are not mere buildings, but monuments to a civilization's dreams, its faith, its unyielding desire to touch eternity. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, the largest of the three, looms like a mountain carved by human hands, its peak piercing the sky, built over 4,500 years ago. It was the tallest structure in the world for nearly 4 millennia, a feat that humbles even our modern minds. Imagine the weight of that ambition: 2.3 million limestone blocks, each as heavy as an elephant, stacked with such precision that a blade of grass could barely slip between them. This was no ordinary construction project. It was the work of a people united by a divine purpose, a society that saw death not as an end, but as a doorway to the eternal. The ancient Egyptians believed their pharaohs were gods in human form, sons of Ra, the sun god, whose fiery journey across the sky dictated the rhythm of life. When a pharaoh died, he didn't simply pass away. He embarked on a cosmic voyage to join the gods in the afterlife. The pyramids were built to ensure that journey was flawless. Their shape, a perfect geometric form, wasn't arbitrary. It mirrored the rays of the sun, sloping upward to guide the pharaoh's soul to the heavens. Inside, hidden chambers held treasures, spells, and a king's mummified body, preserved with meticulous care to ensure his spirit could live forever. The walls of these chambers were inscribed with pyramid texts, ancient incantations etched in hieroglyphs, their words a shield against the dangers of the underworld's serpents, spirits, and the chaos that lurked beyond life. Picture priests in torchlit chambers, their voices low and rhythmic, chanting these sacred words as the scent of myrrh fills the air. The flickering light dances on the stone, and the words seem to hum with power, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. But how did they build these wonders? The question has echoed through centuries, from Greek historians like Herodotus to modern archaeologists puzzling over the logistics. No cranes, no machines, just human ingenuity and relentless effort. The workers were not slaves, as old myths once claimed, but a mix of skilled laborers and farmers conscripted during the Nile's flood season, when fields lay underwater and hands were free. Imagine teams of men, their skin bronzed by the sun, hauling massive limestone blocks from quarries miles away. They used sledges and rollers, dragging stones across the desert, their paths slicked with water to reduce friction. The air would have been filled with their rhythmic chants, a cadence to keep their movements synchronized, their muscles straining under the weight. Picture the dust rising in clouds, the heat pressing down, the distant Nile glinting like a ribbon of life. In a barren land, these workers lived in villages near the pyramids, temporary settlements uncovered by archaeologists. Picture rows of mud brick houses, their roofs thatched with palm fronds, bustling with life. Bakeries churned out loaves of bread, breweries fermented beer, and medical tents treated injuries with surprising sophistication. Bones found in the workers' cemeteries show signs of healed fractures, evidence of care rather than cruelty. These were communities, not just labor camps, bound by a shared purpose. A farmer might spend his days hauling stone, dreaming of his fields back home. A stonemason might chip away at a block, perfecting its edges with a copper chisel, his pride etched into every cut. A scribe, stylus in hand, recorded their progress on papyrus, tallying quotas with the precision of a modern accountant. Pyramid was more than a tomb, it was a collective dream, a monument to faith in the eternal. The architects were the masterminds behind this marvel. Imhotep, who designed the step pyramid for King Djoser centuries earlier, set the stage. Architects followed his lead, blending mathematics, astronomy, and artistry. The Great Pyramid is aligned to the cardinal points with an accuracy that defies explanations. Some say they used the stars, orienting the structure to Orion's belt, believed to be the celestial home of Osiris, god of the afterlife. Picture an architect standing on the plateau at dawn, his eyes fixed on the horizon, a plumb bob in hand, calculating angles with tools made of wood and string. The precision was staggering. The pyramid's base is level 2 within an inch, its sides equal to a fraction of a percent. This was no accident, but a testament to a civilization that saw order in the cosmos and sought to mirror it on Earth. The pyramids were not solitary structures, but part of vast complexes, Temples flanked their bases, their walls carved with scenes of gods and kings. Causeways stretched like stone rivers, connecting the pyramids to the Nile, where boats brought supplies and offerings. Smaller tombs housed queens, nobles, and sacred animals, cats, ibises, even crocodiles, mummified to join the divine. Toward the rising sun, picture priests moving through these complexes at dawn, their robes brushing the stone, their hands offering incense and wine. The air would have been thick with the scent of burning resin, the hum of chants, the soft clink of ritual vessels. These were not just buildings, but sacred spaces, where the mortal and divine met in a delicate dance. The pyramids were also political tools, symbols of a pharaoh's power. To build such a structure was to declare divine authority, to command loyalty from a sprawling empire. Taxes fueled these projects not in coins, for money was scarce, but in grain, livestock, and labor. Every sack of barley, every cow, every day spent hauling stone was a reminder of the pharaoh's reach. To resist was to defy Mat, the cosmic order that kept the world in balance. Yet the people believed in this system. A successful pharaoh ensured the Nile's floods, the harvest's bounty, the land's prosperity. Picture a farmer delivering his grain to a scribe, his calloused hands brushing the papyrus as he nods in respect. The pyramid was his offering to a stake in eternity. Life around the pyramids was vibrant, even amidst the labor. Markets bustled with traders selling fish, dates, and linen. Children played in the shadow of the stones, their laughter mingling with the clatter of tools. Priests and nobles moved through the crowds, their status marked by fine robes and amulets of gold and lapis lazuli. Picture a woman weaving baskets by the Nile, her fingers deft as she watches boats glide past, laden with granite from distant Aswan. A fisherman casts his net, his boat swaying gently, while a scribe nearby records the day's catch. The pyramids were not just for the dead, but for the living, a focal point of a civilization that thrived on order, faith, and ingenuity. As centuries passed, the pyramids stood as silent witnesses to Egypt's triumphs and trials. Invaders came Hyksos with their chariots, Persians with their armies, Greeks with their philosophers, but the pyramids endured. Tomb robbers breached their chambers, stripping gold and jewels, yet the stones remained. Picture the pyramids. Under moonlight, their edges softened, their surfaces scarred by time. The wind whispers across the desert, carrying echoes of a world where gods walked among men, where every block was a prayer, every pyramid a promise of eternity. The workers, too, left their mark. Graffiti scratched into hidden corners of the pyramids bears their names, their jokes, their pride. The friends of Khufu, one inscription reads, "A nod to the team that hauled the stones." Picture a worker pausing to carve his name, his chisel biting into the limestone, a small act of defiance against oblivion. These men were not kings, but their labor shaped history. Their lives, their sweat, their stories are woven into the pyramids, very stones. Let's linger here a moment longer. Imagine standing at the base of the Great Pyramid, its shadow stretching across the sand. The stars above align with its peak as they did millennia ago. The air is cool now, the heat of the day replaced by the desert's night chill. The pyramids stand silent, their secrets only partially revealed. They are more than stone, they are a testament to human will, to a people who looked at the stars and dared to build forever. Let that thought carry you, a gentle weight, as you drift toward sleep. The past is vast, its stories endless, but tonight it holds you close, cradling you in the embrace of eternity. Imagine standing before a fire temple, its stone walls weathered by centuries, yet glowing with an inner warmth. The air carries the scent of sandalwood and incense, mingling with the faint tang of desert dust. Inside, a flame burns steadily. In a bronze urn, its light casting dancing shadows across the chamber. This is Atar, the sacred fire, tended by priests who move with quiet reverence, their robes whispering against the stone floor. The flame is no ordinary fire, is a living emblem of Ahura Mazda, the wise lord, the supreme god of Zoroastrianism, whose light pierces the darkness of chaos. This is a place of purity, of truth, where the mortal and divine meet in the flicker of a flame. Tonight, we'll wander through the rituals, beliefs, and lives of those who kept these fires burning. A civilization that saw fire as the heartbeat of the cosmos. Zoroastrianism. Founded by the prophet Zoroaster over 3,500 years ago, was one of the world's first monotheistic religions. Though its roots stretch even deeper into the ancient traditions of the Iranian plateau, the faith saw the universe as a battleground, a cosmic struggle between good and evil, light and darkness. Ahura Mazda, the god of wisdom and truth, stood against Angra, the destructive spirit of chaos. Fire was the ultimate symbol of Ahura Mazda's presence, a manifestation of Asha, the divine order that held the world in balance. To tend a fire was to align oneself with this order, to push back the darkness with every carefully placed log. Picture a priest, known as a mobed, standing before the flame, his face illuminated by its glow. He wears a white mask to keep his breath from tainting the fire, his hands wielding tongs to offer sandalwood with the precision of a sacred dance. The fire crackles softly, as if responding to his chants, its warmth a reminder of the divine. Watching over the world, the fire temple, or Atash Baram, was the heart of Zoroastrian worship. Some flames burned for centuries, never allowed to die, their continuity a testament to the faith's endurance. Imagine the weight of that responsibility. A mob waking before dawn, his breath visible in the cool air, to feed the fire with fragrant wood. To let it falter was unthinkably cosmic failure, an invitation to chaos. These eternal flames were not just symbols, but living entities treated with the respect one might offer a revered elder. The rituals, called yasna, were daily acts of devotion, performed with meticulous care. Picture the scene: a darkened chamber, its walls carved with ancient symbols, lit only by the fire's golden glow. The mob chants in Avestan, the sacred language, his voice low and rhythmic, weaving prayers that carry the community's hopes to the heavens. He pours clarified butter or ghee into the fire, its sizzle mingling with a scent of burning incense. The air is thick, heavy with reverence, as if the flame itself is listening. These rituals were not confined to the temple's walls. Fire was central to Zoroastrian festivals, moments when entire communities gathered to honor the divine. Picture the festival of Sod, held in the depths of winter, when the cold bit at fingers and toes. A massive bonfire roars in a public square, its heat pushing back the chill, its light a beacon under a star-strewn sky. Families gather, their faces glowing in the firelight as they leap over the flames, chanting, "Give me your red color. Take away my sickly pallor." It was a prayer for health, for vitality, a cleansing of body and soul. Children laugh, their voices rising above the crack of the fire, while elders share stories of ancient heroes who battled darkness with light. The bonfire is more than warmth, it's a communal act of defiance, a declaration that light will always triumph over shadow. Picture young couples holding hands, their silhouettes framed by the flames, their leaps a symbol of renewal, of life reborn in the heart of winter. Fire was not worshipped for its own sake, but for what it represented: truth, purity, and divine wisdom. The Zoroastrians were meticulous in keeping it pure. No refuse, no impure wood, only the finest sandalwood or cedar would do. Even the ash was sacred, collected in special vessels and treated with reverence. Imagine a mob sweeping the ash with a feather, his movements deliberate, as if handling a relic. The flame could not be tainted by breath, by dirt, or by carelessness. To pollute it was to disrespect Ahura Mazda himself. This purity extended to the priests' lives. Mobeds lived with discipline, their days structured around the fire's needs. Picture a young priest, barely out of his training, learning to fan the flame with an eagle feather. His hands trembling with the weight of tradition. His life is one of service, his identity tied to the fire's unending glow. Beyond the temples, fire wove itself into daily life. Every household kept a hearth fire, often lit from the temple's eternal flame. To extinguish it was to sever a connection to the divine, like cutting a thread to the heavens. Picture a family gathered around their hearth at dusk, the fire's warmth softening the edges of a long day. A mother stirs a pot of stew, the flames casting a soft glow on her children's faces as they play nearby. A father offers a quiet prayer, his words barely audible, thanking Ahura Mazda for the day's blessings. The hearth was more than a source of heat, it was a sacred space, a reminder of the family's place in the cosmic order. Fire played a role in life's milestones. 2. At weddings, couples circled a flame, their vows sealed in its presence. Picture a bride in a flowing robe, her veil embroidered with silver threads, walking slowly around a small fire, her hand in her groom's. The flame flickers its light, reflecting in their eyes as a priest chants blessings for their union. In death, fire was used differently, not to consume the body, as that would pollute its purity, but to guide the soul. Picture a funeral, the body laid out in a silent tower, a structure open to the sky, surrounded by oil lamps whose flames burn steadily through the night. The scent of incense rises, carrying prayers to the Chinvat bridge, where the soul will face judgment over a river of molten metal. The righteous walk easily, the flames gentle as milk. The wicked falter, consumed by their own guilt. The lamps glow, a quiet farewell, guiding the soul toward its destiny. The Zoroastrian worldview was one of balance, fire and water, light and darkness, good and evil. The faithful lived to uphold Asha, the divine order, through good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Fire was their guide, a constant reminder of their duty. Even kings, like Darius the Great, invoked fire in their inscriptions, claiming their rule was blessed by Ahura Mazda's light. Picture the grand palaces of Persepolis, their columns soaring against the sky, their walls carved with scenes of tribute and triumph. At their heart, a fire burns in a royal chamber, its light a symbol of the king's divine mandate. Temples dotted the Persian Empire from the highlands of modern Iran to the edges of India. Their flames, a network of spiritual connection, linking cities and villages in a shared faith. Life in ancient Persia was vibrant, a tapestry of cultures woven together by empire. Picture a bustling market in Susa, its stalls overflowing with silk from China, spices from India, and turquoise from the mountains. Merchants haggle, their voices rising over the clatter of carts and the bleat of goats. A scribe records transactions on clay tablets, his stylus scratching swiftly, while a tax collector or deacon surveys the scene, ensuring the empire's coffers are filled. Taxes were paid in grain, silver, or labor, fueling roads, armies, and the grand fire temples. Farmers toiled under the sun, their fields irrigated by intricate canals, underground channels that brought water from distant mountains. Picture a farmer pausing to wipe sweat from his brow, his eyes on the horizon where a temple's flame glows faintly, a reminder of the divine order he serves. Women, too, played vital roles. Picture a weaver in her home, her loom humming as she crafts a rug with patterns of flame and star, destined for a noble's hall. Her hands move with practiced grace, her work a quiet offering to the community. In the temples, women sometimes served as assistants, preparing incense or tending smaller fires, their presence a balance to the male priests. Children ran through the streets, their laughter mingling with the calls of vendors and the chants of priests. Picture a boy tossing a stick into a bonfire during Sod, his eyes wide with wonder as the flames leap higher, his small voice joining the chant for health. Its Borgian empire was vast, its borders stretching from Egypt to India, yet fire tied it together. Picture a caravan crossing the desert, its camels laden with goods, stopping at an oasis where a small fire burns. The traders warm their hands, their faces lit by the glow as they share stories of distant lands. A soldier stationed at a frontier fort lights a torch to signal safety, its flame a beacon in the night. A noble in a palace garden, sipping wine under a canopy of stars, watches a lamp flicker, its light a reminder of his duty to uphold Asha. Fire was everywhere, a thread woven into the fabric of life, connecting the humblest farmer to the mightiest. King Dot, as empires rose and fell, Persians, Greeks, Arabs, the Zoroastrian flames endured. Alexander's conquests brought new ideas, yet the fires burned on. The Islamic conquests transformed Persia, But Zoroastrian communities preserved their traditions, their temples hidden in remote valleys. Picture a modern Parsi community in India, gathered around a fire temple, the flame older than empires. Its light unchanged since the days of Darius. Tonight, we travel to the bustling cities of the Islamic Golden Age, from the 8th to 13th centuries, where markets hummed with life, and empires thrived on trade, tribute, and the exchange of ideas. Picture a souk in Baghdad, its narrow lanes, alive with the scents of saffron, sandalwood, and leather. The air filled with voices in Arabic, Persian, and Greek. The golden sun bathes the stalls, and the call to prayer weaves through the clamor, a reminder of the divine. Before we begin, if these tales soothe your soul, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Truly keeps these stories alive. And in the comments, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's a joy to know who's sharing this journey across the globe. Now, dim the lights, settle into your cozy corner. Perhaps turn on a fan for that soft hum, or pull a blanket close. Let's step quietly into the vibrant markets of the Islamic Golden Age, where the world's treasures converge. Imagine standing at the edge of a bustling market in Baghdad, the heart of the Abbasid Empire, where a million souls weave through, a city that was the envy of the world. The air is warm, heavy with the scents of roasted almonds, rosewater, and freshly dyed cloth. Stalls line the narrow lanes, their awnings casting dappled shade over piles of silk, spices, and shimmering glass. Merchants call out, their voices rising in a rhythmic cadence, offering bolts of Chinese silk, cloves from the Spice Islands, and manuscripts copied in elegant Arabic script. Camels groan under the weight of their loads, their bells jingling as they shuffle past, while scribes scribble transactions on parchment, their ink-stained fingers moving with practiced grace. The market is a living tapestry, a crossroads where east meets west, where the wealth of empires flows like a river under a golden sun. The Islamic Golden Age, spanning roughly from the 8th to 13th centuries, was a time of unparalleled intellectual and economic flourishing. From Cordoba in Spain to Samarkand in Central Asia, the caliphates built cities that dazzled visitors with their wealth and sophistication. Baghdad, founded in 762 CE by Caliph Al-Mansur, was a marvel of urban planning, its circular design symbolizing unity and eternity. At its heart stood the House of Wisdom, a library and academy where scholars translated Greek philosophy, Indian mathematics, and Persian astronomy, preserving knowledge that would shape the modern world. But it was the markets, or souk, that gave these cities their pulse, connecting distant lands through trade and tribute. Picture a merchant unloading bales of linen from Egypt, his hands dusty from the journey, as a crowd gathers to inspect his wares. Nearby, a poet recites verses under a palm tree, his words mingling with the clatter of coins and the laughter of children chasing a stray goat. Markets were more than places to buy and sell. They were cultural crossroads where ideas, stories, and traditions mingled as freely as goods. In Cairo's Khan el-Khalili, you'd find ivory from sub-Saharan Africa, amber from the Baltic, and incense from Yemen. Picture a stall piled high with saffron, its threads glowing like embers as a merchant weighs them on a brass scale, his fingers deft and precise. The mudosib, or market inspector, moves through the crowd, his eyes sharp as he checks weights and measures, ensuring honesty in every transaction. His presence is a reminder of zakat, the mandatory 2.5% tax on wealth given to the poor, a pillar of Islam that bound the community together. Picture a wealthy trader pausing to hand a sack of coins to a mosque official, his head bowed in humility, knowing his gift ensures clean water for an orphan or bread for a widow. Zakat was not just charity, but a sacred trust, a reminder that wealth belonged to God and must serve the greater good. Taxation was the backbone of this golden age, fueling mosques, schools, and armies. Beyond zakat, the Kharaj taxed non-Muslim farmers on their land's yield, while the jizya, a poll tax on non-Muslims, granted protection and exemption from military service. These were not arbitrary levies, but carefully calculated, recorded by a professional class of scribes in the Diwan, the empire's treasury. Picture a clerk in Damascus, his quill scratching parchment under the flicker of an oil lamp, tallying taxes on olive oil, wheat, and dates, his ledgers written in flowing Arabic. Track the empire's wealth from Spain to India, a bureaucratic marvel that kept the caliphate running. Taxes built hospitals where physicians like Orazi pioneered treatments, libraries where mathematicians like Al-Khwarizm refined algebra, and mosques whose domes soared like the heavens themselves. Picture a hospital in Baghdad, its wards cooled by fountains, where a doctor bandages a worker's hand, his knowledge drawn from Greek texts preserved by the house of wisdom. Trade wasn't just about goods, but ideas, stories, and innovations. Picture a scholar in Cordoba's great mosque, his robes brushing the tiled floor, debating Aristotle with a Jewish philosopher and a Christian monk. Their voices echo under the arches, a symphony of thought made possible by the wealth of the markets. Nearby, a merchant sells an astrolabe, a bronze instrument born of Greek and Islamic ingenuity, used to navigate deserts and seas. The zero, borrowed from India, transformed commerce, its elegance simplifying calculations. Picture a mathematician in Basra, his abacus clicking as he tallies a caravan's profits. Unaware, his work will birth algorithms centuries later. Stories, too, traveled the trade route stales of Sinbad the sailor, whispered over cups of date wine, blending myth with the real perils of voyages to India and China. Picture a storyteller in a market square, his audience rapt as he describes a ship tossed by storms, its crew saved by a whale sent by God. Life in these cities was vibrant, but demanding. Artisans toiled in workshops, their hands shaping glass into delicate lamps or hammering silver into intricate jewelry. Picture a glassblower in Damascus, his cheeks puffed as he shapes molten glass, the heat of his furnace rivaling the summer sun. Farmers labored in fields, their crops feeding the empire, their taxes paid in grain or labor. Picture a farmer leading an ox through a dusty field, his eyes on the horizon where a minaret rises, its call to prayer a reminder of his place in the divine order. Women wove textiles, their looms humming with patterns of stars and vines, their work destined for palaces or distant markets. Picture a weaver in Samarkand, her fingers threading silk, her patterns telling stories of desert and sea, her rug a small masterpiece that will outlast empires. Taxes, though structured, could spark unrest if they grew heavy. Picture a market. In Kufa, its stalls quiet as merchants whisper of a new levy, their voices tense. Rebellions flared when rulers pushed too far, but wise caliphs, like Umar II, walked markets in disguise, listening to the people's grievances. Picture a caliph pausing at a spice stall, his face hidden by a cloak, as he hears a vendor's quiet complaint about rising taxes. His reforms, easing burdens, restore the market's hum, a reminder that governance was a balance of power and piety. The markets were the empire's lifeblood, their wealth sustaining mosques where scholars prayed, schools where children memorized the Quran, caravansaries where travelers rested under starlit roofs. Fire played a practical role in this world, lighting markets and mosques, guiding the faithful through the night. Picture a souk at dusk, its lanes glowing with oil lamps, their flames casting soft shadows on stacks of pottery and cloth. Merchants linger, their voices low as they close deals, the lamps extending the day's trade. Of glass and bronze hold dozens of lamps, their light reflecting off tiled walls during evening prayers. Picture a worshipper in Fez, his head bowed in a mosque, the scent of burning oil mingling with incense as the imam's voice rises, a call to unity and devotion. Fire was not divine, as in Zoroastrianism, but a tool, a gift from God to illuminate the path of faith. Picture a scribe working late, his lamp flickering as he copies a medical text, his shadow dancing on the wall, a silent partner in his labor. Islamic golden age was a tapestry, faith and knowledge, its markets the threads that bound it together. Picture a caravan arriving in Bukhara, its camels laden with indigo and frankincense. The traders, weary but triumphant after months on the Silk Road. A poet in a nearby tavern recites verses of love and loss. His words, a gift as valuable as gold. A child runs through the market, clutching a pomegranate, its juice staining his fingers as he laughs. A tax collector counts silver dirhams, his ledger, a map of the empire's wealth. These moments, small and fleeting, wove a civilization that preserved the past and shaped the future as the centuries passed. The Golden Age went invaded by Mongols, strained by internal strife, but its legacy endured. Picture a modern market. In Marrakech, its stalls echoing the souk of old, where merchants still call out, their voices carrying the rhythm of 1,000 years. The call to prayer rises, a thread connecting past and present, its melody a lullaby for the soul. Let that sound carry you now, a gentle wave as you drift toward sleep. The past is vast, its stories endless, but tonight it holds you close, cradling you in the hum of markets and the glow of lamps. Imagine standing on a rocky shore, the air sharp with the tang of salt and pine. Before you stretches a fjord, its waters dark and still, reflecting a sky heavy with clouds. In the distance, a longhouse nestles against a hill, its thatched roof dusted with frost, smoke curling from its chimney like a prayer to the heavens. The Vikings, seafaring warriors, traders, and poets, lived in a world shaped by the sea and the seasons, where every storm was a test, every fire a gift. Their beliefs were as fierce as their land, rooted in a cosmos born from the clash of fire and ice. In their myths, the world emerged from the primordial void, Ginnungagap, where Muspelheim's flames met Niflheim's frost, sparking life itself. At the center stood Yggdrasil, the world tree, its branches stretching across 9 realms of gods, giants, and men. Fire was both creator and destroyer, revered in the hearth that warmed the home and feared in the form of Surtur, the fire giant, destined to burn the world at Ragnarok, the Norse apocalypse. Picture a family gathered around their hearth on a winter's night. The fire's glow pushing back the cold, its crackle a promise that light endures. The Vikings' lives were woven with rituals, none more profound than their funerals, spectacles. A fire and honor that sent the dead on their journey to the afterlife. When a warrior fell, their body was prepared with care, a final act of love and respect. Picture a longhouse, its air thick with a scent of wood smoke and wool. The deceased lies on a wooden platform, washed and dressed in their finest garments. Chieftain in a rich tunic trimmed with fur, a shield maiden adorned with silver brooches and beads. Their hands hold tools of their trade, a sword for a warrior, a spindle for a weaver, a knife for a farmer. These were not mere possessions, but provisions for the next world, where the soul would need its strength and skill. Jewelry gleamed in the firelight, rings, amulets, necklaces each piece, a symbol of status, a passport to the afterlife. Picture a daughter placing a comb in her mother's hand, her fingers lingering, as if to anchor her to the living just a moment longer. For the elite, funerals were grand affairs, often involving ships, flames, and burial mounds. Picture a wooden, long ship, its prow carved with snarling dragons, resting on a grassy hill. The body lies amid furs and treasures, swords, shields, drinking horns, even a sledge for winter journeys. Horses, their coats gleaming, are sacrificed, their spirits sent to carry their master through the realms. The community gathers, their faces lit by torches, as a skald begins to chant, his voice rising over the wind. He sings of the deceased's deeds, their battles, their voyages, their laughter by the fire. The pyre is lit, and flames leap skyward, the smoke curling like a bridge to Valhalla, Odin's golden hall, where warriors feast and fight until Ragnarok. Or perhaps to Folkvanger, Freya's realm, where the goddess claims her share of the fallen. Cremation was more than practical leet, was spiritual, purifying the soul and ensuring it wouldn't linger as a draugar, a restless spirit with glowing eyes and a grudge against the living. Not all Vikings were cremated. Inhumation, the burial of the intact body, grew common, especially in later years as Christianity spread. Picture the Oseberg ship burial in Norway, a masterpiece of preservation. Two women, likely of high status, lie in a beautifully carved ship, surrounded by textiles, sledges, and intricate animal heads. No flames here, just earth and memory. The ship buried under a mound of soil and stone. These mounds, called hogars, were more than graves. They were monuments, visible for miles. Picture a grassy hill rising over a fjord, its stones arranged in the shape of a ship, a testament to the deceased's journey across the sea of death. Families gathered at these mounds for rituals, offering food, mead, or prayers, their voices mingling with the wind. The mound was a bridge between generations, a place where the living honored the dead, ensuring their stories endured. The rituals of Viking funerals were rich with meaning. Picture a longhouse filled with mourners, the air heavy with the scent of mead and roasted meat. A skald steps forward, his voice steady as he recites a saga, weaving the deceased into the tapestry of heroes. His words paint battles on distant shores, voyages under starlit skies, moments of quiet courage by the hearth. The toasts, called many, follow, drinking horns raised to honor the gods, the ancestors, and the departed. Picture a warrior lifting his horn, his eyes reflecting the firelight as he speaks the name of his fallen friend, his voice thick with grief and pride. Animal sacrifices horses, dogs, hawks company the rites, their blood a gift to the gods, their spirits companions for the journey. In rare cases, human sacrifice occurred as recorded by Ibn Fadlan, an Arab traveler who witnessed a Rus chieftain's funeral. A slave girl, volunteering to join her master, was ritually killed, her death a solemn act of loyalty, grim to modern eyes, but sacred in theirs. Runestones were the Vikings' lasting monuments, carved with runes to proclaim the dead's legacy. Picture a granite slab standing at a crossroads, its surface etched with twisting serpents and sharp-angled runes. Gunnar raised this stone for his brother, slain across the sea. Some stones, like the Jelling stones in Denmark, marked royal legacies, their inscriptions blending pagan and Christian symbols. King Harald Bluetooth raised them to honor his parents and declared Denmark's Christianization, the runes glowing under torchlight. Carving a runestone was no small task. It required a skilled rune master, a hefty stone, and no small expense. Picture a craftsman chiseling away, his breath visible in the cold, his hands steady as he etches a name into eternity. The reward was immortality, a defiance of oblivion. Some stones bore curses. May he who moves this stone find no peace. Others carried images, ships, wolves, dragons, a story in itself, a testament to a life that mattered, daily life. In Viking society was a balance of hardship and community. Picture a winter morning, the air sharp with frost, as a family gathers in their longhouse. The fire burns low, its embers glowing as a woman adds a log, her hands deft from years of tending the hearth. She weaves wool on a loom, her patterns telling stories of sea and sky, while her husband sharpens an axe, its blade catching the firelight. Children play nearby, their laughter mingling with the crackle of the flames. Outside, farmers trudge through snow to check their livestock, their breath clouding in the cold. Fishermen haul nets from icy waters, their hands red and raw, while craftsmen hammer iron into swords, their forges glowing like small suns. Taxes paid in grain, fish, or labor supported the jarl or king, funding ships, roads, and feasts. Picture a farmer delivering a sack of barley to a scribe, his nod a quiet acknowledgement of the community's bond. Fire was central to Viking life, both practical and sacred. The hearth warmed the home, cooked the food, and lit the long nights of winter. Picture a Yule festival, the longhouse filled with the scent of pine and roasted boar. A massive log burns for days, its light a promise of the sun's return. Families leap over smaller fires, their laughter rising, believing the flames grant protection and fertility. The fire was a gift from the gods, stolen by Loki in some tales, tended with care to honor them. It was also a shield against the restless dead, the Draugr who haunted dreams. Picture a grave weighted with stones, or a body pierced with a spear, to keep the spirit from rising. Cremation ensured no return, the ashes scattered or buried, the soul freed to its destiny. The Viking world was one of contrast, brutal yet poetic, practical yet mystical. They faced death with courage, seeing it as a doorway to new battles or quiet fields. Picture a warrior in Valhalla, his sword raised in endless combat, or a farmer in hell, resting in a shadowy meadow. The dead were never fully gone, they lingered in smoke, in song, in stone. Imagine standing by a runestone, its runes glowing. Under moonlight, the wind carrying the echo of a skald's voice. The saga continues, a story without end, as the fire burns on, guiding you gently toward sleep. We venture across the sea to the lush jungles and towering cities of ancient Mesoamerica, where the Maya wove their lives around rituals that honored the gods, the cosmos, and the cycles of time. Picture a stone pyramid rising through the mist, its steps stained with offerings, the air alive with the scent of copal incense and the distant beat of drums. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Truly keeps these stories alive. And in the comments, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's a joy to know who's sharing this journey across the globe. Now, dim the light, settle into your cozy corner, perhaps turn on a fan for that soft hum or pull a blanket close. Let's step quietly into the world of the Maya, where the heartbeat of ritual echoes through the jungle. Imagine standing at the base of a great pyramid in Chichen Itza. Its limestone steps climbing toward a temple crowned by the stars. The jungle hums around you, cicadas chirping, leaves rustling in the warm breeze. The air heavy with the scent of earth and burning resin. Torches flicker along the plaza, their flames casting shadows on carved stone serpents, their eyes glinting with inlaid obsidian. This is a place of power where the Maya connected with their gods through rituals of blood, fire, and song. Year is 800 CE, the height of the classic Maya period, when cities like Tikal, Palenque, and Copan thrived as centers of art, astronomy, and devotion. The Maya saw the world as a living tapestry woven by gods like Itzamna, the creator, and Kukulkan, the feathered serpent. Tonight, we'll wander through their rituals, their sacrifices, and the lives of those who lived in the shadow of the pyramids, a civilization that measured eternity in the stars. The Maya believed the universe was a delicate balance sustained by offerings to the gods who controlled rain, maize, and the sun's journey. Rituals were not mere ceremonies, but necessities, ensuring the world's survival. Picture a royal court in Palenque, its stucco walls painted with scenes of gods and kings. A ruler adorned with jade and quetzal feathers stands before an altar, his hands raised as priests chant in a language rich with metaphor. The scent of copo, incense, thick and sweet, rises in spirals, carrying prayers to the heavens. The king pricks his finger with a stingray spine, letting blood drip onto bark paper, which is then burned, the smoke a bridge to the divine. Blood was life, a sacred gift, and its offering, whether from a king's veins or a captive's heart, was a pact with the gods, ensuring rain for the fields and light for the world. Picture the flames consuming the paper, their crackle mingling with the priests' voices, the air alive with the weight of the cosmos. These blood rituals, often misunderstood today, were acts of piety, not cruelty. The Maya saw blood as the essence of life, a currency of gratitude to gods who gave maize and water. Kings and nobles performed auto-sacrifice, piercing their tongues, ears, or genitals with obsidian blades or spines. Their pain, a testament to their devotion. Picture a queen in Tikal, her face serene despite the sting. As she draws a cord through her tongue, her blood dripping into a clay bowl. The crowd watches in silence, their breath held, knowing her sacrifice ensures the rains will come. 4. Greater rituals, captives of fun warriors from rival cities were offered, their hearts removed atop pyramids in ceremonies that were both solemn and spectacular. Picture a priest atop a temple in Copen, his obsidian knife glinting in the sun. As a captive kneels, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The act is swift, the heart offered to the sun god, the body sent tumbling down the steps, a gift to the earth. To the Maya, this was not violence, but renewal, a cycle as natural as the seasons. Fire was central to these rituals, a purifying force that carried offerings to the gods. Picture a plaza in Uzmal, its stones worn smooth by centuries of feet, where priests light a sacred fire during the new fire ceremony, marking the end of a 52-year calendar cycle. The flames leap high, fed by cedar and copal, their light reflecting in the eyes of thousands gathered below. The ceremony was a rebirth, ensuring the sun would rise again, the world spared from collapse. Feathers burned in the fire, their smoke curling toward the stars. Picture a farmer clutching a small bundle of corn, his hands trembling as he places it in the flames. His prayer for a bountiful harvest whispered under his breath. The fire's warmth washes over the crowd, a reminder of the gods' presence. Their favor won through devotion. The ball game, or pokatok, was another ritual, blending sport, sacrifice, and cosmology. Picture a stone court in Chichen Itza, its high walls carved with scenes of players and gods. Two teams, their bodies painted with red ochre, compete to drive a heavy rubber ball through a stone ring using only their hips, elbows, and knees. The crowd roars, drums pounding as the ball soars, its path mimicking the sun's journey across the sky. The game was more than sport. It was a cosmic drama, symbolizing the battle between light and darkness. Losers, often captives, might face sacrifice, their blood renewing the earth. Picture a player, his muscles taut, striking the ball with a force that echoes through the court, his eyes fierce with purpose. The ring, high above, is a portal to the gods, and to score is to honor them, a fleeting victory in the eternal cycle. The Maya's calendar was the heartbeat of their rituals, a masterpiece of astronomy and mathematics. Picture a priest astronomer in Tikal, his eyes fixed on the stars, tracking Venus's path with a precision that rivaled modern telescopes. The long count, the 260-day Solkin, and the 365-day Hob wove a complex tapestry of time, dictating when to plant, when to sacrifice, when to crown a king. Rituals marked these cycles, planting ceremonies in spring, harvest offerings in autumn, and great festivals like the Wayib, the 5 nameless days at year's end when the world teetered on the edge of chaos. Picture a village square, its people wearing masks of jaguars and birds, dancing to flutes and drums as they banish evil spirits, their voices rising in a chant that echoes through the jungle. The priest burns incense, its smoke warding off misfortune, ensuring the new year begins with balance. Daily life in Maya cities was vibrant, a blend of labor, faith, and community. Picture a marketplace in Copen, its stalls overflowing with cacao beans and woven textiles. Merchants barter, their voices a lively hum, offering jade from the highlands and shells from the coast. A farmer unloads a basket of maize, his hands calloused from months in the fields, while a potter shapes clay into vessels painted with gods and myths. Taxes, paid in goods or labor, supported the city's rulers and priests. Picture a scribe recording a farmer's tribute, baskets of corn. To turkeys his quill scratching on bark paper, his work ensuring the city's temples gleam with offerings. Women wove cotton and magway fibers, their patterns telling stories of creation. While children played with clay figurines, their laughter mingling with the market's din. The Maya cities were architectural marvels, their pyramids and palaces rising from the jungle like stone mountains. Picture Palenque's temple of the inscriptions, its walls carved with the life of King Pakal, whose tomb lies beneath, filled with jade and cinnabar. Artisans carved steely stone monuments proclaiming royal deeds, their glyphs as intricate as poetry. Picture a sculptor chiseling a king's face, his hammer tapping softly, his work a prayer in stone. Nobles lived in stone palaces, their courtyards cooled by fountains, while farmers dwelt in thatched houses, their lives tied to the milpa, the maize fields that fed the city. Picture a farmer at dawn, his machete clearing a patch of jungle, his prayers to Chak, the rain god, whispered as clouds gather. Rituals extended to the home, where families honored household gods with small altars. Picture a mother in a village, her hands shaping a clay figure of the maize god, placing it beside a bowl of tamales as an offering. At night, she lights a small fire, its glow illuminating her children's faces as they listen to tales of the hero twins who defeated the lords of the underworld. These stories, passed down through generations, were as vital as food, teaching, courage, and devotion. Picture a grandfather recounting the Popol Vuh, his voice soft as the fire crackles, its light a bridge to the ancestors. The Maya's world was not without hardship. Droughts tested their faith. Wars between cities claimed lives, and the gods demanded constant appeasement. Picture a king fasting before a ritual, his body weak but his spirit resolute, knowing his sacrifice ensures his people's survival. The collapse of the classic Maya cities around the 9th century remains a mystery drought, war, or overuse of the land, but their legacy endures. Picture the ruins of Tikal, swallowed by jungle, its pyramids silent yet majestic, their stones whispering of a time when rituals held the world together. Let's linger here in the shadow of a Maya pyramid. The air thick with incense, the stars above mapping the god's will. Imagine standing in the plaza, the fires glow warming your face, the drums beat echoing in your chest. This is a place of balance where blood, fire, and time weave a delicate dance. Let that rhythm carry you, a gentle pulse as you drift toward sleep. The past is vast, its stories endless, but tonight it holds you close, cradling you in the echoes of the Maya. We travel to the sunlit hills and sacred groves of ancient Greece, where the oracles spoke the will of the gods, their voices echoing through marble temples and olive-scented air. Picture the Oracle of Delphi, perched on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, its stones warm under the Mediterranean sun, the air alive with the scent of laurel and the hum of divine prophecy. Before we begin, if these tales soothe your soul, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but truly keeps these stories alive. And in the comments, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's a joy to know who's sharing this journey across the globe. Now, dim the lights, settle into your cozy corner, perhaps turn on a fan for that soft hum, or pull a blanket close. Let's step quietly into the world of ancient Greece, where the gods whisper through the lips of their oracles. Imagine standing on a rocky path, winding up Mount Parnassus, the air warm and fragrant with wild thyme and olive trees. Below, the valley of Phocis stretches toward the sea, its fields golden under the midday sun. Before you rises the sanctuary of Apollo at Delphi, its marble columns gleaming, its steps worn smooth by centuries of pilgrims seeking answers. A faint haze of smoke curls from an altar, carrying the scent of burning laurel leaves, sacred to Apollo, the god of prophecy, music, and light. Priests move silently, their white robes brushing the stone, while a priestess, the Pythia, sits within the temple, her eyes distant, her voice a conduit for divine wisdom. This is the Oracle of Delphi, the most revered prophetic site in the ancient world, where kings, warriors, and farmers came to hear the god's will. Tonight, we'll wander through the rituals, prophecies, and lives of those who sought and served the oracles in a Greece where the divine was as close as the breeze. The ancient Greeks believed their world was governed by god Zeus with his thunderbolt, Athena with her wisdom, Apollo with his lyre and foresight. The oracles were their messengers, mortal voices through which the divine spoke. Delphi, sacred to Apollo, was the most famous, but other cites Dodona for Zeus, Claros for Apollo. Didyma for Artemis drew pilgrims from across the Mediterranean. Picture a merchant from Athens, his sandals dusty from days of travel, clutching an offering of wine and barley as he approaches the Delphic temple. His question weighs heavy. Should he sail to Egypt for trade, or stay and face a rival? The answer lies with the Pythia, a woman chosen for her purity, seated on a tripod above a chasm in the earth. Legend says vapors rose from the ground, though modern scholars debate their source, perhaps ethylene gas, perhaps divine inspiration alone. Picture her chewing laurel leaves, her hands trembling as she enters a trance, her voice low and cryptic, delivering Apollo's words in riddles that could shape empires. The ritual of consulting the oracle was steeped in ceremony. Pilgrims purified themselves in the Castalian spring, its waters cool and clear, washing away the dust of their journey. Picture a warrior, his armor set aside, splashing water on his face, his heart pounding with anticipation. He offers gifts, golden statuettes, tripods, or livestock to appease the god. Their value recorded by priests on clay tablets. The air is thick with the scent of burning offerings, the bleat of a sacrificial goat mingling with the chants of priests. The Pythia, veiled and serene, enters the Adyton, the inner sanctum, where she sits above the sacred chasm. Picture her swaying gently, her breath slow, as priests interpret her words, crafting them into hexameter verse. The prophecy is often ambiguous. A great empire will fall, she might say, leaving the pilgrim to ponder whether it's his enemies or his own. Picture him leaving the temple, his mind swirling with possibilities. The oracle's words, a puzzle to guide his fate. These prophecies shaped history. Before the Persian Wars, the Oracle of Delphi advised Athens to trust in wooden walls, interpreted as their navy, leading to victory at Salamis in 480 BCE. Picture Athenian generals gathered in a torchlit council, debating the cryptic words, their ships anchored in the harbor below. Kings like Croesus of Lydia sought the oracle's guidance, only to misinterpret her warning, leading to his downfall. The oracle's power lay not just in its divine connection, but in its ambiguity, forcing mortals to think deeply, to weigh their choices under the god's gaze. Picture a farmer, his hands rough from plowing, standing in line with nobles, his simple question: will my harvest thrive? Vital to him as a king's quest for conquest. The oracle was democratic in its reach, open to all who could pay the fee. A bridge between the humble and the mighty. The priests and priestesses were the heart of the oracle's world. The Pythia, often an older woman, lived a life of discipline, fasting and purifying herself before each session. Picture her rising at dawn, bathing in the spring. Her robes simple yet sacred, her mind prepared for the god's voice. Priests or propheti assisted her, interpreting her utterances and managing the sanctuary's wealth. Picture a priest in a white chiton, his hands steady as he pours wine over an altar, the flames flaring as the offering burns. Temples were economic hubs, funded by offerings and taxes from city-states. Tripods, silver coins, amphorae of oil his stylus scratching on wax tablets, ensuring the sanctuary's coffers supported its rituals and upkeep. Festivals brought the oracle sites to life. Picture the Pythian Games at Delphi, held every 4 years to honor Apollo. Athletes competed in chariot races, wrestling, and poetry contests, their victories crowned with laurel wreaths. The air hums with music lyres and flutes blending with the cheers of crowds. Picture a poet reciting an ode, his voice soaring over the stadium, while vendors sell honeyed figs and pottery in the shadow of the temple. Pilgrims flock to the sanctuary, their offerings piling high, their questions whispered in hope and fear. The festival is a celebration of mortal skill and divine favor, a moment when the gods seem to walk among men. Daily life in ancient Greece revolved around community and devotion. Picture a village near Dodona, its houses of mud brick and wood, clustered around an oak grove sacred to Zeus. Farmers offer milk and grain at small altars, their prayers for rain as vital as a king's plea for victory. Women weave wool into cloaks, their patterns echoing the myths of Athena and Arachne, while children play with clay figures of gods and heroes. Picture a fisherman mending his net by the sea, his eyes on the horizon where Apollo's sun rises, his whispered prayer for a bountiful catch. Taxes, paid in goods or labor, supported temples and city-states. Picture a farmer delivering olives to a temple steward, his cart creaking under the weight, his nod a quiet acknowledgement of his duty. Fire played a sacred role, lighting altars and hearths, symbolizing the god's presence. Picture a priestess in Claros, her hands feeding myrrh to a fire, its smoke curling toward the stars as she invokes Apollo. At home, families kept hearth fires burning, a nod to Hestia, goddess of the home. Picture a mother tending the flames, her children gathered close, their faces lit by the glow as she tells tales of Odysseus or the oracle's wisdom. Fire was a bridge to the divine, its warmth a comfort, its light a guide through the uncertainties of life. The oracle's influence waned as Greece changed, conquered by Rome, shaped by Christianity, but their legacy endures. Picture the ruins of Delphi today, its columns silent yet majestic, the wind carrying echoes of ancient prophecies. The Pythia's voice, once a guide to empires, lives in the stories we tell, the questions we still ask of the unknown. Let's linger here in the shadow of the temple, the air warm with laurel, the stars above whispering secrets. Imagine standing before the altar, the fires glow soft on your face, the oracle's riddle a gentle hum in your mind. Let mystery carry you, a quiet wave, as you drift toward sleep. The past is vast, its stories endless, but tonight it holds you close, cradling you in the voices of the gods. We travel to the lush plains and sacred rivers of ancient India, where the Vedic people offered hymns and fire sacrifices to gods who danced in the flames and spoke through the stars. Picture a riverside altar, its fire glowing under a twilight sky, the air filled with the scent of ghee and sandalwood, the chant of priests rising like a melody over the waters. Before we begin, if these tales soothe your soul, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Truly keeps these stories alive. And in the comments, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is. For you, it's a joy to know who's sharing this journey across the globe. Now, dim the lights, settle into your cozy corner, perhaps turn on a fan for that soft hum or pull a blanket close. Let's step quietly into the world of Vedic India, where the gods and the cosmos meet in the glow of sacred fires. Imagine standing on the banks of the Sarasvati River, its waters shimmering under a twilight sky, the air warm and fragrant with the scent of wildflowers and burning wood. Before you lies a simple altar of packed earth, surrounded by a square of sacred grass where a fire crackles, its flames fed by ghee and sandalwood. Priests, their faces painted with ash, chant hymns from the Rigveda, their voices rising and falling like waves, invoking Agni, the fire god, to carry their offerings to the heavens. This is the Vedic age, circa 1500 to 500 BCE. Their lives woven around rituals that sought to align the human world with the cosmic order, or RTA. Their temples were not grand stone structures, but open-air altars, sacred spaces where fire, song, and sacrifice bridged the mortal and divine. Tonight, we'll wander through the Vedic rituals, the hymns of the priests, and the daily lives of those who lived by the rhythm of the gods. In a land where every flame was a prayer, the Vedic people believed the universe was governed by Rata, a cosmic law that ensured the sun rose, the seasons turned, and the gods maintained order. Their god, Indra, the thunder-wielding warrior, Agni, the fire that devours offerings, Soma, the divine elixir, were not distant but present, there, voices heard in the wind, their power felt in the flames. Rituals, or yanas, were the heartbeat of Vedic life, offerings to sustain the gods and the cosmos. Picture a haven, a simple fire sacrifice where a family gathers around a small altar in their village. The priest, or hotter, pours clarified butter, or ghee, into the fire, its flames leaping as he chants, "O Agni, bearer of oblations, carry our prayers to the gods." The air is thick with the rich, buttery scent of ghee. The fires crackle, blending with the priest's rhythmic voice. The family offers grains, milk, and herbs, their hands steady, their hearts hopeful for rain, health, or a son's safe return from a cattle raid. The fire is not just a tool, but a divine presence, Agni himself, a messenger who transforms earthly gifts into celestial blessings. The grandest rituals were the royal sacrifices, like the Ashvamedha or horse sacrifice, performed to affirm a king's power and divine favor. Picture a vast plain near the Ganges, its grasses trampled by thousands of onlookers, nobles, priests, and farmers gathered under a sky streaked with clouds. A white stallion, its coat gleaming, stands adorned with gold and garlands, chosen to roam for a year before its sacrifice. Priests chant mantras, their voices echoing across the plain. As the horse is offered to the gods, its spirit sent to Indra to ensure the kingdom's prosperity. The ritual is a spectacle with fires burning on multiple altars, their smoke rising like pillars to the heavens. Picture a queen, her robes embroidered with lotus flowers, performing her role in the ceremony, her presence a symbol of fertility and continuity. The king, crowned with a diadem, offers gold and cattle, his authority, sealed by the god's approval. The Ashvamedha was not just a sacrifice, but a cosmic act, aligning the kingdom with Rata, ensuring its strength for another generation. Fire was the heart of Vedic rituals, a living bridge to the divine. Picture a homam, a daily fire offering, in a village square. The altar, built of bricks in a precise geometric pattern, glows with a carefully tended fire. Its flames, fed by specific wood, sandalwood, cedar, or fig chosen for their purity. The priest sprinkles water around the altar, purifying the space. His movements deliberate as he invokes Agni, Varuna, and Mitra. Picture him ladling ghee into the fire, the flames flaring golden, the smoke carrying prayers to the sky. The chants, drawn from the Rigveda's 1028 hymns, are poetry in motion, their words praising the gods' might and pleading for their favor. Agni, bright and pure, lead us to wealth and wisdom, the priest intones, his voice a soothing cadence, the fire responding with a soft hiss. Families gather, their faces lit by the glow, their offerings of rice and barley a shared act of devotion. The fire's warmth is a comfort, its light a promise that the gods are listening. The Soma ritual was another cornerstone, a complex ceremony centered on the sacred drink extracted from a now mysterious plant. Picture a temple enclosure, its boundaries marked by sacred cords, where priests prepare the soma juice under a canopy of stars. The plant is crushed with stones, its juice strained through wool, then offered to the gods in a bronze vessel. Picture a priest sipping the soma, his eyes distant as he chants, his mind lifted to the divine realm. The drink was believed to grant immortality, its taste a communion with the gods, especially Indra, who drank soma to gain strength for his battles against chaos. The ritual was a symphony of actions, filtering, chanting, offering, each step precise, each word sacred. Picture the crowd, their voices joining the priest's hymns, their prayers for victory, fertility, or wisdom rising with the smoke. The Soma ritual was a moment of transcendence, a fleeting glimpse of the eternal. The Vedic hymns, preserved in the Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samveda, were the soul of these rituals, their words as vital as the fire itself. Picture a young priest training, his head shaved, sitting cross-legged by a river, memorizing thousands of verses under his teacher's watchful eye. His voice falters at first, then grows steady, the hymns flowing like water. To Agni we offer praise, the shining one, who lights the world. These hymns were not written, but oral, passed down with precision. Their meter and rhythm, a sacred art. Picture a Vedic school or gurukul in a grove of banyan trees, where students recite under the shade, their voices blending with the chirp of birds. The teacher corrects a mispronounced syllable, his tone gentle but firm, knowing a single error could disrupt the ritual's power. The hymns were a living tradition, their words shaping the cosmos as much as the offerings they accompanied daily. Life in Vedic India was a tapestry of labor, faith, and community. Picture a village along the Yamuna River, its madan thatch huts clustered around a communal fire pit. Farmers rise at dawn, their wooden plows cutting furrows in the soil. There, prayers to Indra whispered for timely rains. Picture a cattle herder guiding his herd to pasture. His staff carved with symbols of protection, his songs echoing the Vedic hymns. Women grind barley or weave cotton, their hands deft as they create cloth dyed with saffron and turmeric. There, patterns telling stories of gods and seasons. Picture a mother teaching her daughter to churn butter, their laughter mingling with the rhythmic slap of the churn, their work an offering to the household fire. Taxes paid in grain, cattle, or labor supported the king and priests. Picture a farmer delivering a cart of millet to a royal steward, his head bowed as he offers his tribute. His pride in feeding the rituals unspoken but deep. The Vedic economy thrived on trade and tribute, with markets linking villages and tribes. Picture a riverside bazaar, its stalls laden with pottery, bronze tools, and beads of carnelian and lapis lazuli. Merchants barter, their voices lively, offering salt from the coast or horses from the northwest. A Vedic priest, his robes white, trades a ritual hymn for a bronze dagger, his blessing ensuring the merchant's prosperity. Picture a scribe, his palm leaves inscribed with accounts tallying the day's trade, his work ensuring the king's coffers support temples and armies. Artisans craft chariots, their wood polished to a sheen, or cast bronze vessels, their furnaces glowing like small suns. Picture a metalsmith hammering a dagger, his sweat mingling with the heat. His work a prayer to Vishvakarma, the divine craftsman. The home was a sacred space where families maintained small altars for daily worship. Picture a father lighting a fire at dawn, his hands offering ghee and herbs, his children watching as he chants a simple hymn. The fire's glow illuminates the hut, its warmth a reminder of Agni's presence. At night, the family gathers, their faces lit by the flames, as the mother tells stories of Indra slaying the serpent, Ritra, or the creation of the world by Prajapati. These tales, drawn from the Vedas, were as vital as food, teaching duty, courage, and harmony. Picture a child clutching a clay figure of a horse, its shape a nod to the Ashvamedha, his dreams filled with gods and heroes. The Vedic world was not without conflict. Tribal wars over cattle and land tested their strength, while droughts challenged their faith. Picture a king consulting priests before battle, his hands offering a ram to the fire, his prayers for victory fervent. The Vedic texts speak of Rajas leading chariots into war, their banners fluttering, their bronze weapons gleaming under the sun. Yet the rituals bound them together, their fires a constant, Their hymns, a shared language. We travel to the ancient heart of China, to the fertile plains of the Yellow River, where the Shang and Zhou peoples wove their lives around rituals that honored ancestors, gods, and the harmony of the cosmos. Picture a bronze altar glowing under torchlight, its surface etched with dragons. The air thick with the scent of burning millet and the faint hum of sacred chants. Before we begin, if these tales soothe your soul, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Truly keeps these stories alive. And in the comments, share where you're tuning in from and what time it is. For you, it's a joy to know who's sharing this journey across the globe, especially tonight at 11:40 p.m. PKT on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. Now, dim the lights, settle into your cozy corner, perhaps turn on a fan for that soft hum, or pull a blanket close. Let's step quietly into the world of ancient China, where the whispers of ancestors and the rhythm of the heavens await. Imagine standing on the banks of the Yellow River, its waters glinting under a pale dawn, the air cool and heavy with the scent of damp earth and wild grasses. In the distance, a walled city rises, its rammed earth ramparts crowned with watchtowers, their roofs curved like the wings of a dragon. Within, a royal temple glows with torchlight, its bronze vessels gleaming. On an altar, their surfaces etched with swirling clouds and sacred beasts. Priests move with measured steps, their silk robes rustling, as they prepare offerings of millet, wine, and jade for the ancestors whose spirits linger in the smoke. This is the world of the Shang dynasty, around 1600 to 1046 BCE, and its successor, the Zhou, who saw the cosmos as a delicate balance, sustained by rituals that linked the living, the dead, and the divine. Tonight, we'll wander through the oracle bones, bronze sacrifices, and daily lives of those who sought harmony with the heavens. In a land where the ancestors' voices shaped the fate of kings, the Shang and Zhou believed the universe was governed by Tian, the heaven, a cosmic force that bestowed the mandate of heaven on righteous rulers. Ancestors were intermediaries, their spirits guiding the living through dreams, omens, and divinations. Rituals were not mere ceremonies, but sacred duties, ensuring the crops grew, the rains fell, and the dynasty endured. Picture a royal diviner in the Shang capital of Anyang, his hand steady as he carves questions onto a turtle shell. Will the harvest be plentiful? Should the king march to war? The shell is heated in a fire, its cracks read as messages from the ancestors, their wisdom etched in the patterns. The air is thick with a scent of burning bone, the crackle of the fire mingling with the diviner's chants. These oracle bones tens of thousands uncovered by archaeologists were the voice of the past. A dialogue between the living and the dead that guided decisions from planting to politics. The oracle bone ritual was meticulous, a blend of precision and reverence. Picture a diviner in a dimly lit chamber, his robes embroidered with stars, surrounded by scribes who record each question and answer on bamboo strips. The process begins with a sacrifice, perhaps a cow or a captive from a rival tribe. Its blood offered to appease the spirits. The shell or ox bone is polished, inscribed with characters in a script that is the ancestor of modern Chinese writing. Picture the diviner holding the bone to the flame, his eyes fixed on the cracks as they form, each line a whisper from the beyond. The answers are cryptic, requiring interpretation. A single crack might mean auspicious, a jagged, split calamity. Picture a king, his jade crown heavy, awaiting the diviner's verdict, his kingdom's fate hanging on a fracture in bone. These rituals were not just spiritual but political, reinforcing the king's divine authority. His role as the bridge between earth and heaven. Sacrifices were central to Shang and Zhou rituals. Offerings of animals, grain, and sometimes humans to honor the gods and ancestors. Picture a grand altar in Yingsu, the Shang capital, its bronze vessels filled with millet, wine, and pork. The vessels, cast with intricate designs of dragons, phoenixes, and touty masks, are works of art. Their weight, a symbol of royal power. Priests pour wine into a ding, a tripod cauldron, its steam rising as an offering to Di, the high god. Picture the fire beneath, its flames licking the bronze, the air heavy with a scent of roasted meat and fermented grain. Animal sacrifices, cattle, sheep, dogs were common, their lives given to ensure divine favor. In the Shang period, human sacrifices, often war captives or retainers, were offered in royal tombs, their bodies laid beside the king to serve him in the afterlife. Picture a tomb, its earthen walls lined with jade and bronze, where a warrior lies with his spear, his face calm, his spirit bound to his lord. By the Zhou period, human sacrifice waned, replaced by effigies or animals. A shift toward mercy without breaking the ritual's bond. Bronze played a sacred role, its casting a ritual as much as a craft. Picture a foundry in Luoyang, the Zhou capital, where artisans pour molten bronze into clay molds, their faces glowing in the furnace's heat. The vessels ding, gui, juar, not just containers, but symbols of power used in feasts to honor ancestors. Picture a royal banquet. The hall filled with nobles, their silk robes shimmering as they raise bronze cups in toasts to the dead. The king offers the first libation, pouring wine onto the ground, his voice low as he invokes his grandfather's spirit. The bronze gleams, its inscriptions recording the king's deeds, ensuring his name endures. These vessels were buried in tombs or stored in temples, their weight a testament to the dynasty's wealth and piety. Picture a priest polishing a ding, his cloth gliding over its curves, his touch reverent, as if the bronze itself holds the ancestors' gaze. Festivals marked the rhythm of the year, tying rituals to the seasons. Picture the harvest festival in a Zhou village, its fields golden with millet, the air alive with the beat of drums and the wail of flutes. Families gather around a communal altar, offering rice and pork to the earth's gods, their prayers for abundance. Rising with the smoke, children dance, their faces painted with red ochre, while elders burn bamboo strips inscribed with blessings, the pops mimicking the ancestors' approval. Picture a spring ritual where the king plows the first furrow in a sacred field, his bronze plow gleaming, his act ensuring the land's fertility. The crowd chants, their voices blending with the wind, as priests sprinkle wine on the soil, a gift to the spirits below. These festivals were moments of unity when farmers, nobles, and kings stood together under heaven's mandate. Daily life in ancient China was a balance of labor and devotion. Picture a marketplace in Yinyang, its stalls laden with jade, silk, and pottery. Merchants barter, their voices a lively hum, offering oracle bones for divination or bronze bells for rituals. A farmer unloads a cart of millet, his hands rough from the fields, while a weaver sells cloth dyed with indigo, her patterns echoing the cosmos. Taxes paid in grain, labor, or bronze supported the king's court and temples. Picture a scribe recording a farmer's tribute, 5 sacks of rice, 2 pigs his brush gliding over bamboo, his work ensuring the city's altars never lack offerings. Women ground millet or wove silk, their labor vital to the household, while children played with clay figures of warriors and dragons, their laughter mingling with the market's din. The home was a sacred space where families honored ancestors with small altars. Picture a mother in a thatched house, her hands arranging a bronze GUI with offerings of fruit and wine, her prayer whispered for her father's spirit. At night, she lights a small fire, its glow illuminating her children's faces as they listen to tales of you, the Great, who tamed the floods, or the Yellow Emperor, ancestor of all. These stories, passed down through generations, were as vital as food, teaching duty and harmony. Picture a grandfather carving a jade amulet, his fingers steady. His work, a gift for his grandson's future, a talisman to carry the ancestors' protection. The Shang and Zhou world was not without strife. Wars between clans tested their strength. Droughts threatened crops, and the gods demanded constant appeasement. Picture a king fasting before a ritual, his body weak, but his spirit resolute, knowing his sacrifice ensures his people's survival. The Zhou's conquest of the Shang around 1046 BCE was justified by the mandate of heaven, a claim that the Shang had lost divine favor. Picture a battlefield, its air thick with dust and the clash of bronze, as Zhou warriors raise banners proclaiming their righteous cause. Yet the rituals endured, binding the new dynasty to the old. Their bronze vessels and oracle bones, a thread through time. The legacy of these rituals lives on. In the calligraphy of modern Chinese, the reverence for ancestors, the harmony of feng shui. Picture the ruins of Yingsu, its altars silent yet heavy with history, the wind carrying echoes of ancient chants. The oracle bones, now museum treasures, still speak, their cracks a map of a people's faith. Let's linger here, in the glow of a bronze altar, the air warm with incense, the stars above aligned in cosmic order. Imagine standing before the fire, its flames soft and steady, the ancestors' whispers a gentle hum in your mind. Let that harmony carry you, a quiet rhythm as you drift toward sleep. The past is vast, its stories endless, but tonight it holds you close, cradling you in the embrace of ancient China.